The Beltway bandits have sent a letter to President Trump to use the Airport and Airway Trust Fund, like all of it I guess, to ensure the FAA has money for upgrades and modernization of the ATC system.
Well, you know I'm not in favor of just giving gobs of money to the FAA, but on the heels of the tragedy at Washington National, that's one of the easy buttons. Just throw money at the problem. We need to talk about it. The Airport and Airway Development Act of 1970 established taxes on passengers, cargo, and fuel to fund airports and the air traffic control system. This is called the Airport and Airways Trust Fund. I mean, we just call it the Trust Fund in this game. And a portion is always used to fund the FAA, along with augmentation from the general fund. Now, 30 different aviation lobby groups have urged the use of the trust fund to modernize FAA facilities and air traffic control equipment. Using the trust fund as a bank in lieu of annual appropriations could allow for better management of long-term acquisitions. That's the current thinking anyway. Hey, in the spirit of the letter, Mr. President, you need to do something about the FAA is really a good thing. Consensus that the FAA is not keeping the house up to code is great. Now my issue is all the language about collaboration with industry and using the trust fund as a bank is where it comes off the rails for me. One, the FAA and industry have been collaborating forever. They have the Next Gen Advisory Committee and the Advanced Air Mobility Advisory Committee, the Research, Engineering, and Development Advisory Committee, and the Management Advisory Committee, all made up of people from these organizations that sent the letter. They go to conferences together and collaborate and agree with each other on panel sessions, and we end up right here. I mean, come on. The Next Gen Advisory Committee has been targeting and supporting the FAA's plan for Next Gen for 2 decades, and we have zilch. 2, it isn't about the money. Airports in the ATC system got a $30 billion shot in the arm from the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. Yes, $30 billion on top of what they get appropriated. No appropriation restrictions, by the way, on that money. 3, when is enough enough? We need significant reform, and that reform will need to come from some base of safety first, followed by business acumen. Not really collaboration with associations. Not everyone will be pleased. Not everyone should be pleased. We have an infrastructure that we cannot sustain from any angle, whether it be operations, management, or financial. We need to make decisions. 4, look, all the associations took credit for the FAA Reauthorization Bill of 2024, a super important piece of legislation. They took their bows in support of the important legislation, which left out the hard part, like the need to fix the FAA. There's some really good things in there, but it came up short. They could have hashed this out then, but it's too little, too late to get involved. 5. Now what we do have in the reauthorization bill is a provision to report to Congress upon budget submission the FAA's actual shortfalls for needed infrastructure. We need that information. How broke are we? How big is it really? And with a new administrator, a new Congress, can we figure out what to do about it? It won't be easy, and for sure it won't be pain-free. 6. How do you do? 6. Unfortunately, now that lives have been lost, all this gets accelerated. And I am glad to see the long overdue acceleration. But where do you start? How about the fundamental tenets of the organization? What should they be doing and why? And build around that. Do I hear a proper regulator followed by a separate outsourced air navigation service provider? Or was that just, do I hear that in the wind? Or was that an airplane or a boat going by? I don't know, but things are going super fast and we have to pay attention. A couple weeks ago, we learned about a loss of separation event at Phoenix There's great capture of the event over fellow YouTubers, VAS Aviation, the Blanco Lirio channel, where you can go over the flight tracks and the audio. I tell you, this one was gut-wrenching to me. I will simply plant a few seeds for you to dive into this one. The situation here occurs daily. No, not just daily. This is the constant challenge of the air traffic controller. Everything is going well, running a nice tight final, very efficient. And then a UPS flight decides to tell his life story. Okay, it was a pretty short story, but those few seconds, unexpected and uncalled for, threw the controller's timing for the entire stream way off. In the cockpit, in this area of flight, the cockpit is sterile, no distractions. And then the pilots decide it is okay to start gabbing in the sterile cockpit of the air traffic controller. It is extremely unfortunate. This situation highlights the most fragile nature of our air traffic control system and how critical the actions are each and every second. The primary tool of the air traffic controller is communication. They communicate with pilots, pilots communicate with them. When we think of safety and modernization, we need to start thinking about this one capability that to this day operates in serial. It's fully reliant on humans with voices and ears and their comprehension while doing multiple things. And did I mention this is in serial? One communication element at a time, one response at a time, one communication at a time, one response at a time. This is the real inhibitor to safety and increased growth. Doge engineers, get creative. Tell you what, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.